Hello. Just as promised earlier in the earlier video, I'm going to be going over a few review basic groundwork things just to kind of really reinforce that foundation I'm trying to put on him. Like I said in the earlier video, he's very sensitive, very light, and extremely intelligent. So I'm going to go back and do a few of the basic groundworks, some desensitizing, some moving around, moving his feet, moving his mind, see if I can find where the disconnect was and drill it, work it, teach it, train it. So have fun watching. Learn anything, let me know in the comments. So we'll just give him a little catch. Probably not going to talk as much today in this video. If you have any questions, feel free to comment or DM me, but I'm going to kind of keep it a little quieter today. You've already kind of seen the things that I'm going to do. I'll explain some of the newer stuff or some of the things that I think are vital to know about what I'm doing in each thing. But for the most part, it's going to be quieter. See, so he's turning his head away instead of being caught. So I'm going to circle his butt, get his attention back on me rather than that way. Go ahead, down. There. I like to have my horse's head down when I'm bridling, when I'm haltering. Makes it easier, especially if Finn here goes to a shorter person. They don't have to reach way high up to put anything on him. When I do that, like I said before in the other videos, put my hand on his nose, the other hand here on his pole, and I just move it back and forth until he gives to that pressure, and I release it and come back up. A lot of times they'll bring their head straight back up. That's all right. You just keep on working the process until it just becomes natural in habit. So he's already starting to do it without me even having to do any of the moving. Okay. So today, I've got my feed sacks out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the little tiny smaller one, trying to just really expose him to those different things. He does really well with this. It's not too much of a skittish moment. And then I have another bigger feed sack that I have over here on the ground that I'm also going to use on his back, but I'm going to have him do a little bit of lunge work around it, over it, kind of see different things, experience different stuff with him. I haven't done that yet. I typically, when I'm moving my horses and just for a lunge, I use lunging not to tire them out, not to make sure there's no buck or flea or anything with them. I use it to gauge their gait, to establish, to gain some little bit of muscle, to learn how to go over different things. I ride a lot. Let's back up just a little bit. There you go. I ride a lot in the mountains, trees, rocks, brush, down timber, and I want every single horse that I ride to be able to go through anything and everything that I'm asking them to go through. Whether it's jumping over a log, moving through rocks, they need to be agile and coordinated enough, and that comes with practice. Not every horse, weirdly enough, you'd think they would. I had a thoroughbred a few years ago that got stuck behind a sagebrush when I was leading him. He didn't know how to go over it or around it. So he just sold up, and so I had to teach him, moving him, all the different stuff. I used another horse in front of him that went through the brush, and that kind of started teaching him, and he became one of my best mountain horses. Some of the mountains up here that I ride in, he could take him straight up it, no problem at all. I ran him in a Pony Express race. That was a 12-miler, and he went through open fields and trees and brush and ravines and water. So those are things that we learn here in the round pen first, and then I take them out into trails, smaller, lighter things at first, and then working them up into the harder things, just like you do with training. Yeah, you do the small things, let them think, and bring it away. Same way with that. So I'll do a little bit of demonstration there, bringing him over that sack. I don't know if he'll actually go over the top of it today, but he'll get comfortable and learning that it's not something that's going to jump out and get him. So we're going to move him over here to the middle, you can see. Bring him around, raise him up, and forward. So he's already eyeballing that sack on the ground, which is good because that kind of gets his mind thinking on everything. We'll rub him here, rub him around his legs, make sure that there's no tickle spots or scared points. And always bring it back, let him think and rest. Not every time a horse is going to remain perfectly calm and stand stillish. That's all right. They can get that figured out and learn. Sometimes a situation doesn't call for that. Sometimes a situation recalls for them being a little bit more high strung and going and moving, depending on your discipline. But I want to make sure that he knows and understands that all these floppy moving things isn't something that he needs to be afraid of and react to. And every horse is more sensitive or not so to all these different techniques and methods. You just got to find where their comfort zone is and keep working that. Sometimes they need to be stepped out of their comfort zone to learn how to come back down and realize that what's going on isn't as extreme as they may think it is at first. Where you take a lot of the reaction out and allow them to think. Flop it under his belly. So perhaps when he got out of town, when I put that saddle on, it was because it was the weight being cinched up and the back cinch flopping. So we'll see what that is with this. Oh, see, that one got his attention. So let him sniff it and see it. He was paying attention to Caesar over there and forgot to pay attention to what was going on here. Move it over to this side. I want to actually have him in the middle of the pen. So I'll move him over. There. That's what I wanted. Be very clear and concise about what you want from a horse, and don't stop until you get it. If you release that pressure before you get your response, then they equate that to something completely different of what you're not wanting. So I wanted his back end to move over, and he kept trying to think about moving forward, so I kept until he moved his back end. See, he's a little bit up about it, a little agitated, so I'll keep doing it for a little bit longer until he starts to relax just slightly. There. There's that deep breath. Not everything can be stress-free and comfortable and nice and easy at all times. Sometimes you gotta stress them just a little bit so they understand that. You're out on a trail, you're in the arena, and all of a sudden something jumps out at him. A rabbit, a dog, a fan, another horse. That automatically, naturally, is going to be something that's going to spook him. Unless they're just so dead, broke, just gone that they don't even, all their senses are gone. There's going to be some sort of reaction. Depending on what kind of sensitizing you did, kind of what horse it is going to dictate the severity of the freak out. But our job as horse owners, trainers, is to get every situation possible that you can think of prepared for. You're not going to prepare for everything, but the more preparation you can give them, the better horse they're going to be. One more step. There you go. They never react to anything because you're always so calm and collected and smooth and never really stress them a little bit. You're never going to learn what they need from you as a herd leader, as a rider, to be able to come back down and be thinking again. He's softening his eyes already. This doesn't bother him too much. Bring that stress level up some and take it away. It's pretty good. Good on this side. Pretty good. Boy. Bring your head down. Thank you. Bring it down. And we'll work with this big bag some. Don't want to do too much. So I'm going to stand where he has the ability to still go around the bag and then cross it if he's ready and able to. Push it over there. And put another one right here. And put him in a circle. Nice and easy. Walking around it. He's feeling it out. Put this here. And if I want him to get closer, I can bring him in just a little bit to the circle, a little tighter, or let it out. Change directions. Okay, bring your bind back. There you go. Oh. He always likes to stop on this side and turn and face me when I want him just to be moving. So I keep him moving. Remember, it's not his choice when he can stop. Now walk. Oh, good boy. Walking's fine, trotting's fine, loping's fine. Doesn't matter as long as he's moving. Okay. Oop. Guide him and drive him. Step in front, move him over. Move it. Step in front and move him over. Bag's right there, so he's got to figure that out, whether to go around or go through. There you go. But he can't just stop and solve up. And stop him. And bring him forward. Sometimes I put bags down, sometimes I put cedar posts down, sometimes I put tarps. But if they're not comfortable with going over the tarp yet, don't fold it out into a big square. Okay, minimize it, make it smaller, fold it into easy little pieces where they can go over it if they want to, where they don't have to necessarily just step on it. And then work it out in open big square. Now I want him to go on the outside of the bag this time, so I'm going to have him go, there you go, good boy. There. Front, turn him face. There you go, good boy. Now, like I said in other videos, the way I lunge a horse may not be the completely and totally correct 100%, this is how it should be done way, and that's all right. It works really well for me. This is how I learned how to do it, and there are other methods, and I'm always open to learn those kind of things too. But this is how I do it in order to get the horses to do what I'm asking them to do. Step in front, moving them over. It's already starting to go better on this side. That's nice. Oh, there you go. He thought about it that time. Okay. Gather my rope, step, and move over. There we go. And stop. And have him walk. Good. Okay, moved his feet. Now I'm going to do a little bit more standing desensitizing. I'm going to use the bigger bag so there's more to see, more to hear, more movement. Get him comfortable with that. Bump his legs, his feet. Let him see it back here behind him. It makes a different sound than the other. It's a little crunchier. When I'm doing this, I like to keep a loose lead rope. If they feel like they need to move away from me, I don't want them to feel trapped with a short lead rope. Now, if I'm doing something particular where I want to make sure that I keep control of his head on the turn, like if, for instance, I'm saddling for the first time, or if he's a little bit spooky, I want him to keep him a little closer to me. I'll bring his head, or that way I can bring his head around on a shorter lead. But right now, for this desensitizing, if he feels like he has to step away, I'm watching his ears anyway, I'm watching his head, so I'm going to stop before he feels the need to escape. But if, for instance, I read something wrong or he just is a little bit jumpier that time, then I want him to be able to move out and understand that this isn't a terrible thing, that this isn't something that's life-threatening where he feels like he's trapped. So I let him have a little bit longer lead. That way if he has to step out, he feels that he has that ability to do that, where it's not going to hit the end of a short lead rope and then he creates something bigger than it needs to be. I also do this when it's not on a lead rope. That comes a little bit later on, so he felt like he needed to step out from under that. So I just keep working it, a little smaller, then bigger, and then I bring it away. But I'll desensitize, I'll saddle, I'll do all those different things, not right now, but later on, without a lead rope. And that way they're learning how to just stand and be all right with everything going on. If I have to get off to go to the bathroom or whatever, I hunt a lot. If I have to get off and go hunt, like shoot an animal, I want to be able to not have to take a bunch of time to tie up. If I want to be able to just drop my lead rope, all my horses, they do that. If they spook, they don't run away. They all stay pretty close to me. And that just builds upon that bond and that trust that we're trying to create with every horse. And I think that helps a lot when you can do it without a lead rope, without a halter, with a loose lead. Around you is where they're going to feel the safest, and that's what we want. He's all right. He's all right. Now, he just learned that experience isn't awful. Let him rest just for a second. That way he can understand that he's not going to get away with that response, but what happened isn't going to be as bad as he thought it was. So we'll keep working it. I found a little tiny hole. When he feels stuck, he feels like he needs to run away. This isn't something that he needs to run away from, and he needs to learn that. And that's our job as a trainer, to be able to teach him that. Maybe this time, since I know that he gets nervous with those, I'll bring this little tail up just a little bit more where it doesn't brush and stay on him as long. There. Hold it there for a little bit until he starts to come down. There you go. There you go. It's all right. Wasn't so bad, huh? So I did find that little bit of nervousness, that little scaredness. I'm not going to continue to try and freak him out every single time, because that's not giving him a chance to be able to calm down and learn from anything. But I'm not going to take the full thing away from either. He needs to be able to learn how to calm down if this kind of situation happens. If I'm riding him and I have to take off a rain slicker or a jacket or a hoodie and it bumps him on the butt or it scares him or spooks him, I want him to know that he's going to be okay if I still just stand there. He may react, but he's not going to overreact. And that's what this training helps with. Right. Okay. All right. You notice the little tail, I'm keeping it on there a little bit longer after I pull it off. It's all right. He's moving and that's fine. Yeah, that's better. Got something we can build off of. Move over to this side. See if he has the same response over there. Okay. He's looked over at me for comfort. Good boy. Couple more times and then he's going to be able to rest. There we go. Boy, that was really good. That'll be good enough for today. Thank you again for joining in. Subscribe and watch.